Okay, yo, what is good, everybody? It is the godfather of gaming, the ageless wonder, your boy Lincoln Clay, coming back at you, the VR king of the crumb side. Good morning, everybody. It is a Sunday. It is about, I think about 9:30 a.m. I got to get up, shoot to the store, grab some things to make breakfast. But I decided rather than try to edit yesterday's video, I would just make another one. So here it is. This is about the Lexus that I picked up earlier this week. And I did not make content this week because I wanted to try to keep this car a secret from my son until I actually picked him up in this car. And if I would have made any kind of content during the week, and if any reference of that car would have been made, my son would have picked it up and he would have known about this car when I picked him up yesterday. So I was trying to keep it a secret from him. So now that the cat's out of the bag, he knows about the car, he likes it, all this kind of stuff. Now I can go ahead and do a quick give my quick thoughts on this car and talk a couple of things about gaming. And I need to try to keep this under a half an hour, otherwise it will take forever to upload with my phone. So real quickly, let's go ahead and head on over to cars right here. This is the 2008 Lexus LS460 that I picked up on Monday. Right next to it is the Acura that I still own, which is a 2006 Acura RL. And then over here in the graveyard, we have my winter beater, 2000 Oldsmobile Intrigue. I haven't driven this car in about 18 months. And between the Acura and the Lexus, I'll probably never drive this car again. So next week, I'm going to get a battery, clean this car up. Wherever it may need tires and that kind of stuff, I'll get it together and then sell it, and that's gonna be that. So she served me well, but it's time to put her out the pasture. So anyway, back to these cars. So to give you a quick breakdown of the Lexus right here. Right here, you see these little circles here on the bumper. Those are actually the sensors for the park assist. It's got them in both the front and the back. And what else we got here? Let's go around to the back, show you a feature or two over here. So in the back, we've got the trunk here. Hit a button there, and it is a electronic trunk that raises. Lots of space in here. I seen a video where a guy that was 6'1" actually climbed inside this trunk and closed it. So lots of trunk space. And then right here, you hit this button right here, and it closes automatically, which is a nice feature. This car has 18-inch wheels, and I have no plans to put any custom wheels on this car. I like it the way it is. Keep it classy. Also with this car, if you notice right there, the mirrors are folded in, and it has keyless entry. And watch the mirrors when you go to unlock the doors, which I think is pretty cool. So I'm unlocking the doors right now. That is pretty slick. So let me show you the engine before we hop inside. Excuse me. Pop the hood here. Get up under there. Here we go. So this car right there, all covered in plastic, can't see anything. This car is powered by a 4.6 liter V8, which puts out 380 horsepower I believe at 367 pounds of torque. This car does 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds. Whereas my Acura over here, it has 300 horsepower, has a VTEC motor. It is all-wheel drive. It does 0 to 60, I think, in like 6.4. So not bad for the Acura. But back to this car. Let's see here. I know that there was something else I wanted to show. Oh yeah, the doors. So if the door doesn't close all the way, it vacuums close. I call it a soft close right there. So if you don't close the door all the way, it'll pull it closed itself. All right, so let's get inside. Check out some of the features. Let's see here. Oh, the back. Totally forgot about the back. Start with the back, and then we'll come back up front. My bad. So in the back here, this car actually has a lot of room in the back. And the car obviously has a lot of speakers in it right there. There's a couple on that door right there, a couple right there. Some speakers in the back dash. Right here on the armrest, so close that to hold your drinks. Right here you have the armrest. You lift that up right there. And this car has heated rear seats. And then this button right here, that is to raise the shade that you see. That raises the shade in the back window. This is actually, this LS460 is actually the base model. I think the LS460L, which stands for long, right here, this empty space right here, this is actually a bunch of buttons for what would be a reclining rear seat that is heated and cooled and massages you. So I got the base model. I got the Superfly broke man's version. And just kidding. Shit, this car, even this base model car, started at $70,000. So some of the other features this car has. Let's see here. Where is that button at? Right there. It has a heated steering wheel. Right here, heated and cooled seats. Your traction control, all that good stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and start it up. Right here on the engine stop, put your foot on the brake. Right up here. There we go. And over here. So let me turn this up and spin this out of the way. And actually, it's cold than a son of a bitch in here. I forgot I had the AC on, so go to climate, AC off, go to low. So another neat feature in this car, right there where it says disc audio. And there we go. That is the DVD playback. And I am watching Captain America Winter Soldier.
DC Metro Police Dispatch shows no units in this area.
Sounds good too.
Get me out of here. Propulsion systems offline. Reboot, damn it.
Okay. Switch back to satellite radio. So yeah, a lot of neat features in here. So let's go ahead and go for a ride. I don't, unfortunately, While I'm recording, I am unable to switch to the front-facing camera, so I will have to spin this around and put the camera on me that way. So give me a second to do that. And I think we should be good right there. Hopefully it'll sit still. So let's go down the street. I'll go a couple of miles on the highway, and then change glasses here. That was my reading glasses. Up here I have my driving glasses. All right, so let's go on the highway. Talk about this car a little bit. Talk about the acceleration and the handling of this car versus the acceleration and the handling of my Acura. Because I think during the late 80s, early 90s, I think Acura and Lexus were probably the two biggest names as far as Japanese cars go. Infiniti was right there with them, but I think Infiniti launched the same time as Lexus did, and that Q45, that very first Q45 they came out with, I think it had just as many gadgets as the Lexus did, but that thing was ugly. And I think Infiniti didn't get the shit right until like the third generation. So I'm coming up here on 28th Street where the Metro Cruise was at. It is 9:41 a.m. Eastern time, and I had to get up this morning and take care of this. Get up and go grab some groceries now before this street becomes crazy with cars everywhere, like you saw in yesterday's video. A little bit of rumble there for you. So this car, it rides really smooth, and the acceleration on this car is incredible. I probably say the only negative about this car so far that I have to say as far as acceleration and handling goes is that I think this car just has way too much power for the way it handles. Because this is a pure luxury car, so the handling, it handles like a luxury car. It does not handle like a sports car. And so if you were to take this car through a slalom, there will be some noticeable body roll. It rides like a cloud, so when you go through dips and that kind of stuff in this car, it does. I hate using the word bouncy because that is a kind of a harsh word, but that's just what it is because of the very smooth ride. And because of that, I will only step on the gas in this car on straightaways. This car is rear-wheel drive versus my Acura being all-wheel drive. And this is a very heavy car too. I think this car is 4,300 pounds. I think Lexus went out of their way to make it that heavy because of how much power it has. So we're gonna get on the highway for a couple of minutes. And I think that'll just about wrap up my little review of this 2008 Lexus 460. I think I bought this car Monday. As I said, I think I got a good deal on this car. I paid $8,200 for this car. They sold it for $2,000 below book value. It had 168,000 miles on it, which for the most part is just about right for how old the car is. And I think even at 11 years old, a lot of the gadgets that this car has is still pretty cool. So now I'll get on this highway so you can hear this V8 rumble. Boy, this car ain't no joke when it comes to acceleration. sure all the windows is up. There is it rides smooth, but there is a little bit of road noise. You can probably hear it. But hey, I can't control that. That's just the way it is. I've seen multiple videos of people talking about the road noise. But all in all, I'm still very happy with this car. This car, I think actually, gas mileage wise, this car gets 16 in the city, which isn't good. But it gets, I think it gets 17 on the highway, which I think is pretty good for a big V8. So, but truth be told, my Acura isn't much better. It gets 18 in the city, and I think it gets 24 on the highway. Because that car is all-wheel drive. It's 300 horsepower with a VTEC motor. So let's give it a little bit of gas. Oh yeah. So we'll take it out to about 84th Street. Then turn around and head back, talk a little bit of gaming news. Oh, I just thought of something. I just thought about something. I gotta pull over. That paper that I had covering up the license plates, I gotta pull over and take that off. Because that's definitely a cop magnet. Alright. So I am going to pull over at the shoulder of the road. Greg, get out for a second and take that paper off. If it hasn't already flown off. Okay, folks, give me a second. Yep, it was still on there. So we'll get back on the highway for a couple of miles. And then talk a little bit of gaming. Chick-fil-A. See a Chick-fil-A right here. Boy, lately this Popeyes chicken sandwich versus Chick-fil-A has gotten ridiculous, but I can't eat it in any case because I've been instructed in terms of managing my diabetes. I've been instructed to stay away from breaded foods. Do not eat bread, buns. The only way I can eat any kind of buns or bread is if it's whole wheat. No, not whole wheat, whole grain. Because it takes your body a while to break those whole grain seeds down, because there's carbs inside those seeds. So anyway, so yeah, I'll get back on the highway here. Oh shit. I meant to go out to 84th Street. I'm not going to be able to do it that way. I want to get back on northbound. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get on over here. So I'll just get back on northbound and go a couple of miles that way. Oh shit. Damn, I couldn't even do it that way. Now I got to turn all the way around. after all this morning so I can go up in this Walmart parking lot and turn around. So, but I think that's about all I've got as far as my thoughts on this car real quick. So let's switch on over to some gaming news. And I think the thing I'll start off with is the Disney Sony failure to reach an agreement. And I'm not going to get into that stuff and act like I'm some kind of lawyer and act like I know contracts and stuff like that. I know Sony owns parts of Spider-Man. I believe Disney owns parts of Spider-Man as well. I don't know who owns what. But for Disney to jump up and say we want 50% moving forward, all I can say is that the first thing that hit my head was that is typical American greed. That's just the way American companies function. They are super greedy. The one thing that shocked me about this is that it came from Disney. This is a company that I grew up believing was a family-oriented company, that their main purpose was to provide joy and entertainment to families everywhere. And it seems like since they done bought up everything with Fox and all kinds of other stuff, it seems like their greed is just coming out of them. And so that was a little bit shocking to hear, Disney to say something like that. But at the same time, again, this is an American company, so it shouldn't have shocked me to hear those, which I think was ridiculous demands. And on the Sony side of this, I feel like once again they were asked to give up something, because it seems to me like whenever it turns out to be a situation of Sony versus Microsoft or Sony versus an American company, Sony's always the one that's being asked to give up something. We had the crossplay debacle where Microsoft and Phil Spencer vilified Sony. They tried to start up that crossplay mess, and it needs to be crossplay everywhere. Try to get Sony to give in the crossplay, vilified them, made them out to be the bad guy for not giving in the crossplay. And then when finally Sony did give them some sort of crossplay with the Fortnite thing, that was the end of it. Nobody lashed back at Microsoft and was like, you give up something in return. There was, a few people that said, there was a handful of YouTubers that was like, Microsoft should drop the paywall in return, behind Fortnite. It's a free-to-play game, but yet you still need Xbox Live in order to play this game. So it is locked behind a paywall. And it's like Sony gave up something. Microsoft was claiming that crossplay was for the betterment of gaming. So, if you're interested in the betterment of gaming, it seems like, you shouldn't have a problem dropping that paywall behind Fortnite. But no, they didn't. And that was the end of it. Nobody said anything else. Then you had the situation of Microsoft games being so terrible. Oh my God. I can't get enough of this acceleration. Coming from a luxury car. Got damn near Mustang GT type acceleration. Not today's Mustang GTs, but the older ones. Damn, I need to shave too. Can't go on the VR link looking like a caveman, so I gotta shave when we get back. And then you have the situation where Microsoft, their exclusives are so bad that it drove everybody to say that Sony should share their games with everyone else and let everybody else enjoy these games, calling it anti-consumer. So now Sony's the bad guy because games shouldn't be locked to one console, one platform with all this kind of stuff, when they didn't have a problem with Gears of War being a reason to buy an Xbox, before they went throwing everything on PC. And so now you have this Disney thing where Disney wants 50%. Nobody's saying anything about, at least the majority of the people isn't saying anything about 50% being, in my opinion, ridiculous. but everybody wants Sony to just give in. It's like, they should just do it. I'm banning Sony. I'm boycotting Sony. All that stuff. So it's like three like major situations as far as I'm concerned, where Sony was asked to relent, to give in, and the people trying to bully them, strong arm them, vilify them. Nothing was asked to that company to give back in return. So that's my take on that. I spent more time talking about that than I wanted to. I think next thing I want to talk about is Sony picking up Insomniac. I think that's a good thing, in my opinion. I'm not terribly surprised by it. I didn't know if it would happen, but I'm not surprised that it happened. As far as I'm concerned, this is Insomniac's opportunity of a lifetime. I don't care what they say about wanting to remain independent and not wanting to be bought. When you stop and think about what Insomniac was talking about, they were talking about wanting to own their own games. So I think that's kind of a tough demand to walk up to corporations like Microsoft and Sony and want them to spend $60 million to publish a game, to pay for the development of the game, and then you walk away owning the game. That's kind of tough, because at the end of the day, if it's my company, and I'm hiring you to do the work, it's still my materials and it's still my money that I'm providing. So, to me, if Insomniac didn't jump on this opportunity to be with Sony, they might have been struggling after that. I think the only other opportunity they could have had to maybe get on board with somebody is if Facebook would have picked them up, and because Insomniac has done a couple of VR games. And so I think they're working on the game's Stormland. Now, I don't know if that game is an Oculus exclusive or not. That kind of been going around on the VR side about them working on a game called Stormlands. And now that Sony has bought Insomniac, will that game shift over and be a PSVR exclusive or not? I don't know. So I guess we'll have to see how that plays out. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to try to speculate on what Sony can and can't do with this Stormlands game now that they own an Insomniac. So I'll leave that there. But as far as I would like to see, who I really would have wanted to see, I think I'd still like to see them do it, is see Sony pick up Ready at Dawn. They are the developers of the Order 1886, but for me, they are more notably for developing Lone Echo, which is an Oculus exclusive, and to this very day, still the best VR game that I have ever seen. They are developing Ready at Dawn, not Ready at Dawn, Lone Echo 2. They are developing that. I think it was supposed to come out sometime this year. I'm not sure if it's still going to come out this year or not. But I think that if Sony were to pick up Ready at Dawn, I think that would have been a double win, because they, maybe Sony could have had them do the exclusive, the sequel to the Order 1886, as well as VR games. So that's who I would like to see get picked up. I'd like to see Ready at Dawn get picked up by Sony or Facebook, which it could happen, because it was noted earlier this year that along with the Assassin's Creed and Splinter Cell exclusivity coming to VR, that Oculus is looking to buy some studios. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ready at Dawn ends up being one of the studios that Facebook acquires. So, and I think lastly, speaking of Facebook, I want to talk about the rumored Oculus to the Xbox Scarlet. Nothing new has come up on that, but when it came up a few months ago, and I talked about it then, a lot of people think it won't happen. I actually think it will happen, because you have to keep in mind the so-called goals that they set. Microsoft wants to reach 2 billion gamers, and Oculus wants to reach, or Facebook wants to reach 1 billion. We already know how Microsoft plans to do it, through Game Pass and through cloud-based gaming. In the case of Oculus, I know a big chunk of reaching 1 billion gamers is going to be through the Oculus Quest, but neither Microsoft or Oculus is going to be able to do this by themselves. They're going to need help from somebody to reach their goals. That's why Microsoft is breaking their back to try to get this stuff on the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation platform altogether. I think in the case of Oculus, they cannot do it on just the Oculus Quest and the Oculus Go. They're going to need some outside help. And then you factor in that they are bringing Splinter Cell exclusively to the Oculus platform. I think if they were to put the Oculus Rift on Xbox Scarlet and bring Splinter Cell VR over there, I think that would be huge, even though I don't expect Scarlet to sell very well. That's a story for another day. We already know that, Microsoft doesn't care if you buy the console or not. It's all about the services with them. Nonetheless, I think if they were to bring Splinter Cell to Xbox Scarlet, I think that would be huge for both. I think that would be big for both Microsoft and Oculus. Now it's got warm again, so let me turn the AC back on. Okay, so I'll be ready to wrap this up in a minute. So just on that belief alone that both of them are trying to reach astronomical goals, they can't do it the core way that they've been doing it for years. There's no way Oculus is going to be able to do it on PC. They're going to reach 1 billion gamers through PC. PCs are really expensive. So, you're looking at about anywhere from $800 to $1,000 for a PC with just enough specs to be able to run it smoothly. And so no, they'd never be able to do it on PC. So Oculus Quest, Oculus Go is going to be the biggest pieces of them reaching 1 billion. But like I said, they're going to need help. So them getting on Xbox Scarlet would be a big help. And same thing with Microsoft. If they could get on PlayStation, that would be huge. So you're hearing it from me. You heard it from me. I think it will get done. I think Oculus and Xbox Scarlet will come together. It may not happen at launch, but I think it will happen. So I think that's about it. I think that's about all I got. I wanted to try to keep this video on there half an hour. Because when I shot yesterday's video, that video was almost an hour long. And then the Metro Cruise video that I did yesterday, that video was about 20 minutes long, and it still took about an hour for that video to upload. So